what are the things that you've learned over the course of those 9 months in running what is now really going to be a multi-million dollar business?
I would say my biggest takeaways are like three of the things that I've struggled the most with was number one, like the delayed gratification piece. And like maybe this is common sense for some people who are, maybe a little bit more seasoned and being a full blown entrepreneur where you're bootstrapped and you didn't raise any money or anything like that. But the delayed gratification and like just always reminding yourself that money comes later is it's really hard, honestly, because at the end of the day, it's like you're putting in more hours than any normal W-2 job when you start something like this, like you literally are thinking about it all the time. I wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and I'm like, if I don't write this down, I'm going to forget it. Or if I don't, remember to do this tomorrow, like in my mind, it's like the whole world could collapse, in a certain way, because I'm the only one responsible for the trajectory like of this business at this point. So that was like something really hard for me to understand in the beginning of this, because I spent, March all the way to November spending every single penny, putting it back into inventory to the point where I at one point had to take out a loan for my other business and say like, let's cross my fingers and hope that these Black Friday sales and this inventory that I'm hoping to sell will sell. You know what I mean? So the risk taking and the delayed gratification have been like huge, like character building things that I've really learned. And then another small part of like that, which is kind of similar, is just like the timing of inventory. And in terms of e-commerce, when you're building a brand that you want to have like a really great reputation, is always 3 to 4 months out of you thinking, which I didn't know until fairly recently. I placed an order for some new designs and I'm thinking like, oh, well, this will come in this month. But at that point, when they do come, it might actually be a completely different season. And you just don't really know any of this until you're in it and you're constantly realizing it. So that's been like huge too. The last thing I was going to say is like, and this is like more of a broad thing that I've been constantly talking to Lauren about too. And it's the fact that I really truly think that times are changing where there are so many people who like have 3 or 4 different e-com brands and they always raise money for the brands before they even get their feet wet and say, hey, does someone actually want to buy this? And I think that there's something so wrong with the way on like how a lot of people do it when it comes to raising all this money, hiring all these different really, really successful media marketers and spending all this money on ads when you don't even know if these people want to buy your product. So why wouldn't you just test the waters first? And that's a huge thing I learned at Lauren Labeled, like that ties back, is Lauren and I didn't go all in on Lauren Labeled one day. We just said, let's put up a website. Let's see if people are interested. And then when it became time to like cut ties and spend more time, that's what we did. And I think that it's really important for people to know, like if they're watching this and they really want to get into e-commerce, like it really doesn't have to be something where you are raising $150,000 to $500,000 to start something successful. Like that's just not the case.